She is the most York horse of all York horses of this week who haven't run at York.
Looks the sort of shrewd man's bet, that. Very much the wise guy bet.
The sprint division is either infuriating or tremendous, depending on which way you look at it.
So she's the only angle, but the rest of them are just not that good this year.
Total silence greets this piece of inspiration.
I'm in total silence a bit because it's my nap of the week.
Oh, no!
The way she won that was, I think, a little bit under the radar, and the speed figure was absolutely phenomenal. She scythed through the runners.
The near side fence in recent times hasn't really favoured anyone. I think the single figure draws won it now for about the last 10 years.
Aren't these two-year-olds legit though?
If I don't want an improver necessarily, I want a horse who is, who we know they are good enough to win a race. That's what I want.
It was the biggest eye catcher of the entire Goodwood Festival for me. As soon as you hit the line, I think I backed it straight after.
Hi there, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. This is a William Hill Inside Track special and coming to you before York, one of the great racing weeks of the year. We've had Ascot, we've had the July Festival, we've had glorious Goodwood. This really is our final summer hurrah before we head into all the autumn delights of the St Leger Champions Day and all the great international stuff. But this, our last big fling of the summer, and multiple Group 1s through the week as well. The Juddmonte International, the Yorkshire Oaks, the Coolmore Nunthorpe Stakes, and of course now the City of York Stakes upgraded to a Group 1 on Saturday. All that, plus one of the great marquee handicaps of the season, the Ebor, and we have got a mouth-watering week in prospect. It could decide trainers' titles, it could decide Horse of the Year titles, it could decide Race of the Year titles. This is a key week in our season, and I'm joined by a top team to preview it as well. Of course, Ross Brierley and Andy Holding. Ross, I almost need not ask this question. Where does Ebor week feature in your affections?
Look, again, proud Yorkshireman. It's the best, isn't it? It's an absolute unbelievable 4-day festival at the most beautiful racecourse in the country. And it's, the prize money is monstrous. The fields are monstrous. The feeling of actually finding a winner is monstrous as well. It is, it is fantastic. It is. We sort of slightly leave the pain of Goodwood behind us. We have enough form in the book to really get some proper laminated opinions now on some of these horses. We are, we're well into the thick of it. I absolutely love it, and I can't wait.
Andy, 2 questions for you. One, is there such a thing as a humble Yorkshireman? I mean, Ross said he was a proud Yorkshireman. I've never heard anyone say, well, as a slightly unassuming Yorkshireman, I'd like to say.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I think with York, it's very similar to Aintree, isn't it, Nick? They all say that Aintree is the sort of Cheltenham of the North, and it's the same with York, isn't it? It's the Ascot of the North. Arguably, there's a more sort of laid-back sort of carnival festival feel to it. Don't know if that's just the people around. They're probably a little bit less stuffy, maybe. I don't know, but the racing's fantastic. Great backdrop. It's a beautiful course, and you're very fair. Probably not so many biases as there is at Ascot as well, so it does technically make it a little bit more punter friendly. But I always treat it very similar to sort of Goodwood. If I can get through this week relatively unscathed, find the odd winner here, there, and everywhere, I'll be patting myself on the back.
I mean, the good news generally at York, though, Ross, is that you're probably unlikely to have an absolute traffic nightmare. I know the fields are big, but you got enough room to spread yourself out in the straight. Yeah, any horse can be unlucky anywhere, but you're unlikely to be effing and blinding at the screen like you might be at the end of 5 days of Goodwood.
Yeah, it's different though, isn't it? I feel like, I don't know if I've asked you this question before, but in fact, I'm going to ask it now, even if I have. There are many ways of getting, of losing a bet, but what's the most painful for you, Nick? Is it the on the bridle caught in traffic, oh my God, please get out? Is it the, you've gone too fast, too early, or you've done too much, and after a furlong you think, well, I can't win because we're never going to get home doing this? Is it the opposite, where they go too slow and you're out the back and you think, well, I thought he was going to front run and now he's being held up?
Two things. One is wrong side. in
Wrong side.
a multi-runner race, wrong side. And the other is kick 2 out and gets caught on the line.
Yeah. When
And
it's almost perfect.
That can happen at York.
Yeah, I mean, but you're right. But it's not like Goodwood where you do turn into the home straight and you can feel the pain coming. York it's both fair and unfair. In fact, it's so fair that it's quite painful at times. It is the closest to real life where you think, well, that's not fair, and you go, well, you knew what was going to happen. You knew exactly where you were drawn. You know the low draws are favoured at York, yet you still back one in 18. So who's to blame, really?
All right, if you are having a bet at York this week and you're watching this, well, I hope you are anyway, remember, you can get a free bet on us to use at York. All the T's and C's available at williamhill.com and, of course, on the William Hill app. Well, the Juddmonte International, I suppose we spent a little bit of the season imagining Field of Gold might show up, but I think John Gosden was quite keen to keep him at a mile, even if he hadn't had that little injury after Goodwood. But we've known since the eclipse that Delacroix and Ombudsman would renew rivalry. I think, Ross, that you and I are going down together here, aren't we?
Oh, I don't know. Are we? You tell me.
I think we might be. I've had my colours nailed to the See the Fire mast for about 12 weeks for this race.
Of course, absolutely. When you said Ombudsman and Delacroix, though, I thought we don't fancy either of those, do we? I don't know.
No.
So that threw me off a little bit. But yeah, you're right. Absolutely, this is the day for her. Yeah, this is absolutely the day for her. And if anything, I don't know about you, Nick, but I was weirdly encouraged by Goodwood. It was obviously a bit of a shambolic situation, an unavoidable situation, but still a frustrating outcome in general for a Group 1 at Goodwood, with the storms and no stalls, and Whirl getting a 6-length head start to go and win by 6 lengths. But given that we were hoping that she would come here at York and be 100% primed to put it up to the boys, I think a lovely spin round Goodwood without being 100%, gone through the ultimate pain barrier to try and beat Whirl and then go down half a length and think, oh, has that left a mark 3 weeks later? I actually think it's going to work out beautifully. She travelled on the bridle into the crucial part of that race, but I think Oisin had already accepted that this race was only going to go one way. I think most people had accepted the race was going to go one way after about 3 or 4 furlongs, and she showed plenty of zest. She showed plenty of ability to get onto the heels, and you thought, oh, okay, maybe this is going to be a little bit of a race. And then she was comfortably beaten, but not disgraced. It was a perfect prep run, almost by accident. She's a York horse. She's bred to be a York horse. Her form is a York horse. Andrew Balding obviously hasn't had that many genuine 100% chances of winning the international, so he'll be thrilled to bits if she can run up to her best form. We were saying about York at the start of the broadcast, and the key thing is to remember, for whatever reason, horses for courses. It was the same at Goodwood. Kirat is a Goodwood horse. He sprang a surprise. See the Fire is a York horse, and hopefully she'll spring a surprise. She's clearly a bit of a monster. She's 4 years old. She's ready to peak, to prime in this race. And let's go.
If Andrew Balding gets enough prize money this week, he will be right on Aidan O'Brien's heels at the top of the Trainers' Championship, or at least right upside. That won't be lost on him, nor will everything that Ross just said. And I just wondered with her, it's a question of how much in advance of her Ascot run in an ordinarily run race does she actually need to perform to get much closer to Ombudsman, i.e., if they don't do what they did at Ascot, which was give Ombudsman a perfect setup, then does she actually need to even improve that much on that to be on the premises, irrespective of her York form?
Well, Nick, I think Ross has hit the nail on the head. I think the improvement that is likely to come in order to get a little bit closer to Ombudsman or even turn around the form will come from the fact that she's running at a home venue, really. It's very much a home match for her, isn't it, York? She's just got that beautiful experience that you need there. And we'll go on about when lots of horses, when we talk about this podcast, horses that run there at York before, they do have a huge advantage. It just seems to suit her eye, doesn't it? other than any other track. And I think at Ascot as well, you have to bear in mind she challenged at the inside. I don't think it really suited her to be in that position, where I think Ombudsman and Anmar had the luxury of getting clear water on the slightly better part of the track on that day in the Prince of Wales. So I think you give her 2 passes on track position and the fact that Ascot probably isn't as plays in her strengths as it does York. So she's definitely going to get a lot closer. Me personally, I think this is a difficult race to bet in because we don't know enough about 2 horses, whether they will act at York or not. But they're very much interesting runners, Dan on Deseal and, of course, Darry's. Darry's beat a horse of George Scott's last time out, Basie Tirola. Might not look great for him, but he did it with a real style and panache about him that looks as though that he could easily take to Group 1 company. He's got a lot of presence and size and scope about him. I think they're talking about the arc for him, but the fact they're going to come here and roll the dice is significant. Obviously, Connections just got touched off last year with Calandagan. They've got a little bit of unfinished business. The only stat he's got to overcome is the French haven't won it since 1987, the mighty Triptych, when she won it. So it's very much uncharted territory for the French, but he's a good horse as well. So I think it's a fascinating affair, but I think if you're on anti-post bets like you guys are with See the Fire, I don't think you'd be too far away.
All right. So what about the rematch from the Eclipse? Who's going to come out on top of that?
I mean, I would say Ombudsman personally, Andy. I thought partly because the Gosden in this race at this track, you Osterdaffs, you Mishrifts. This is a race that he does incredibly well with, similar types to Ombudsman. John Gosden is a patient man, and I feel 2 or 3 runs into the season, this is when his horses peak. So I think Ombudsman would come out on top for me, Andy.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because everyone, including myself, is universally accepting that the Eclipse was a messy race, and it became a little bit too furlong dash. But at the same time, I do think you've therefore got to give Delacroix quite a lot of credit. I don't think he got as much credit as he deserved to come from the position that he did. I mean, he was 3 lengths behind Ombudsman with 2 to run, and he ran him down, and he went clear from him in the latter stages. So while Ombudsman probably didn't get the strong run race that he would probably desire, and that he received at Royal Ascot, who's to say that Delacroix won't improve with a strongly run 1.25 miles? The only bad race he ran in was the Derby, which didn't suit him. Obviously, he was at the back and he didn't come down the hill, and everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. There's been a lot of store put into the fact that he's finishing speed percentages in modestly run races have really helped him this season. I think he's gone 105, 106 and 112. But like I say, we don't know what he's going to do in a strongly run 1.25 miles. He might absolutely thrive. I think you're sort of like presuming that he's a bit of a one-trick pony. I think that could be a dangerous route to go down.
Get best odds guaranteed online and also at every high street shop on every race every day at York. Now we'll move on and have a look at the Yorkshire Oaks. Minnie Hawk's been the outstanding. Well, has she? You say World's been the outstanding 3-year-old filly this season, but Minnie Hawk has defeated her in the Oaks and has gone on and followed up in rather turgid style, I thought, in the Irish Oaks. Do we need a bit better than that, even in a thinnish edition of this race, Andy, do you think?
No, I think we've just got 2 standout fillies, haven't we, in pretty weak pool of fillies this season. I think the Ribblesdale was probably the sort of key factor to that theory. She won a very substandard Group 2 at Royal Ascot, in my opinion, Garden of Eden. So, yeah, I mean, look, she's. I don't think we've actually got to the bottom of Minnie Hawk yet. I think she just did the bare minimum last time, but this track is really going to suit her, I think. And I think the odds are quite thin odds about her are pretty much going to summarise her claims. It's hard to see really any of the others being good enough. I mean, Estrange probably wants slightly more easier ground than what she's going to receive on the Knavesmire. I mean, she struggled to beat Scenic last time out. I mean, with the greatest will in the world, Scenic's probably a Group 3 horse. Not really convinced about Bedtime Story. Decent run in France, admittedly, 2 runs ago. The ground went against her at Goodwood, but I'm still not sure where we sit with her. So unless Ross can come up with anything more imaginative to say. This one looks as though it's going to go to Ballydoyle.
I mean, there's a couple of things come to mind. One is it's quite strange over the past couple of years, and I don't know if Aidan O'Brien has if this is a conscious decision to kind of look at the things that the weak spots, the blind spots, the things he wasn't that good at, and maybe try to fill in the blanks a little bit. But it wasn't that long ago that Aidan O'Brien at the Ebor meeting was a pretty bad route to follow. That York, I always found, was where he sent his horses to kind of get a judge of everyone else while sending his best runners to Ascot, to the Curragh, to Leopardstown or whatever. So a few years ago, I would have said, I'm not sure I could back one. I mean, I just had a look at the Ebor meeting, Aidan O'Brien. 2024, he had 4 winners. 2023, he had 3 winners. So that's 7 winners in 2 years. You'd have to go back. It was 10 years that he had 7 winners combined before that. So a couple of years ago, I would have said, yeah, we have to take Minnie Hawk on. I think she is a bit of a grinder, but it isn't a particularly good lineup of fillies this year, and I think York will suit her because I think she'll just kick into the home straight and she'll just keep galloping. However, I do hope they run Bedtime Story here because she is the most York horse of all York horses of this week who haven't run at York. I mean, obviously she's by Frankel, but she's out of Mecca's Angels, a dual Group 1 winner in sprints here. She's obviously Content. Her sister won this race as well. The Grand Dame Folger won a sprint handicap here as well back in the day. So Bedtime Story is an incredibly ideal horse on breed, and we've seen it with See the Fire. You saw Arabian Queen going on to See the Fire. Whatever it is about York, it seems to go through the bloodlines as well. And I don't think we have seen the best of her this season. She burst onto the scene last year and she tailed off. I think you can make excuses for every single one of her runs this year. I know some punters and pundits don't like to make any excuses, never mind one run, but I've got to the point, I've been watching enough racing to think that, horses and trainers and everything are operating a sort of a 10% strike rate, 15% strike rate if they're doing well. And that means you have to excuse a lot of unlucky runs. So I think you can excuse every one of Bedtime Stories runs. If she turns up, I think she might switch off behind Minnie Hawk and run on for second or without the favourite or a bigger price like that. So she's the only angle, but the rest of them, they're just not that good this year.
Yeah, I think if the rain came, I think Estrange would be interesting against her, but I don't think it is going to come. She's been the outstanding 3-year-old at this distance, Minnie Hawk. What do you think? Do you have any creative ideas against her? I mean, you haven't got much to go with, but if you have, leave the comment somewhere down here. Right, there are price boosts on every single race. William Hill price boost every single race at the Ebor meeting, which may interest you as we dive into the Coolmore Nunthorpe Stakes on Friday. The sprint division is either infuriating or tremendous, depending on which way you look at it. It's been a real case of who's in front when the music stops this season, both over 5 furlongs and 6, and indeed in the Morris de Geest at 6.5 last weekend. But this is the 5, the Flying 5, the Fluky 5, the Frenetic 5, call it what you will. But can we get a winner out of it? It's nothing if not absorbing, this race, Andy, is it?
Yeah, I mean, they're real conundrums, aren't they? We've talked about these kind of races on several podcasts, and we had another not fluky result at Goodwood, but one that wasn't in keeping with what most people thought. I mean, James Young is an admirable horse, and to be fair, he's got a squeak here. I mean, he's a horse that often runs his race, and he absolutely loves York. We've talked about quite a few horses already that very much come alive here at this track. So, yeah, if he gets a good draw, and I think that's the imponderable, isn't it? I think the draw is going to play a major significant factor in this race. You want to be traditionally drawn somewhere middle towards that far side. The near side fence in recent times hasn't really favoured anyone. I think the single-figure draws won it now for about the last 10 years. So, if we go and tip something now and it gets drawn, 15 to 15, then, we're in trouble. We need a plan B. I mean, Batash won it a couple of years running, but by and large, it has been a bit of a bookmaker's benefit. I think a solid one, if there is a solid one in this division at this very moment in time, is Arizona Blaze. Adrian Murray had a great weekend at the Curragh the other week, and Arizona Blaze is one of the 2 horses that won. And I really like the way he got the job done then on that occasion. He was up with the speed throughout. He didn't make all the running, but like I say, he was on the front end. And when David Egan went for him, he found a really good, nice turn of foot. He powered his way to the line. And I think he's just coming of age, this horse. He was a good 2-year-old, quite an industrious 2-year-old, but he seems to be getting better now. And the beauty about him as well, he has got a sneaky good run here at York. I think he finished second in the sales race. Okay, he was only behind Diligently, which form wouldn't be good enough. But as I said, I think he's improved. I think a real flat-out 5 is ideal for him. And unlike the round track, where I think you are better off coming off the speed, horses tend not to come from too far back here on the 5 track. And around about 6-1, it's hard to see him not being at the thick end towards the back end. So I think his sort kind of each way profile suits the way I look at a race like this. So yeah, I'd be looking at Arizona Blaze. One at a big price. I think Celandine could run well. She won the Louth last year. Things haven't quite panned out for her so far this season, but she's one of the type of horses, because she got York form, that could easily run well at a big price. Maybe Chester was a bit too sharp for last time, or she didn't get into a good track position, I should say. And she's going to be like 33, 40-1. But yeah, Arizona Blaze would be the one for me.
All right, I've got a quick quiz question for you without looking, Mr. Ross Brierley. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Which horse that is entered in the Nunthorpe Stakes has the highest official BHA rating? Bear in mind that Arizona Blaze and Asfura don't actually have official BHA ratings. So, of the horses trained domestically, which one has the highest BHA rating?
Ooh.
I think I know what it is, but I'll go on with it, Ross.
Hang on, let's have a look.
All right, I'm going to have to put you out of your misery.
I'm gonna wait. Is it? Ooh.
No,
it's not J. It's not JM Jungle.
No,
It's
you're close. Rumstar. Rumstar is the highest official BHA rating of any horse in the Nunthorpe, supplemented for the race.
I mean, that tells you both
everything you need to know.
It does tell you everything you need to know, and I mean, look, it's a bit of a maybe a bit of a masochist approach, but the sprints this year, everyone says, they're an absolute minefield. You can't pick a winner. You can't do this. I don't necessarily believe that's true. I mean, I texted Andy on the morning of Goodwood and said, JM Jungle's got a chance, hasn't he? And an American Affair won, and Andy was all over him at Ascot. And there's a few form lines that actually are kind of the key. The problem is they're not necessarily the form lines that everyone wants them to be, and that's a bit of a blind spot.
Aren't these two-year-olds legit though? I mean,
Yes.
I know that the ones that have had a go have come up a bit short in recent years. Platinum Queen being the obvious one, but Kingsgate Native and Lyric Fancy have won as 2-year-olds. You don't have to go that far back to Acapulco, nearly won as a 2-year-old. Lady Iman and Spicy Margaret credentialed, aren't they? And good.
Absolutely, yeah, they are. And I'll be honest with you, I think Spicy Marg is a better horse. I think she's one of the best horses in here. I'm a bit disappointed she's gone here, because whatever 2-year-old race she was going to turn up in next time out, I was going to absolutely smash her off the boards, because I think she's a bit of a monster. She did an incredible time on debut. Again, Ascot didn't work out. You can put a line through Newmarket. The thing about Goodwood was, every other 5 furlong race that week was won by horses on the speed. And Spicy Marg came from the clouds. And she came from the clouds and she won going away. She won completely against the way the track was riding for the sprinters all week. And it was her first visit to the track again. And we'd had Goodwood horses like JM Jungle. The 5 furlong 3-year-old handicap went almost entirely to the first 3 home, were all horses who had experience of Goodwood. So the way she won that was, I think, a little bit under the radar, and the speed figure was absolutely phenomenal. She scythed through the runners. The 4th Palmera got done on the line the other day in Black Type Company at a big price as well. I think she's got an absolutely fantastic chance. She's obviously also bred to be a York horse through the damn Main Desire, who was a dual winner here. So I think Lady Iman, if I'm honest, I think Lady Iman's a little overrated, and I think Spicy Marg is a little underrated. I think she's got an absolutely monstrous chance. If she got a nice draw and she could get a good toe into it, I think she's got a huge chance. I don't particularly. I think sprinters get better as they get older. So backing 2-year-olds in sprints is a bit mad, but I do like her a lot. I think if you would take, I think the youngsters, I think Spicy Margie is fantastic. I think the one who is coming of age and is running himself into form and has similar form lines to the ones that have been throwing up the big winners this year is Washington Heights, who I think is kind of ignored because people think they know what he is and they think, oh, he's not quite good enough to win this. But again, he's another York horse. And if you just look at his York form, he was done on the line over 6 furlongs by Should Have Been a Ring, who again is another proper York horse and has run several huge races here at this track. He got done ahead by Quinault in a handicap when he was, obviously on his big run, and we know how good Quinault is now. He finished 4th in the Duke of York to Millstream Should Have Been a Ring of Diligent Harry when they were drawn 5, 6 and 3. He was drawn 12, and with half a furlong to go, he was still in front. And then last year, everything unfolded on that far side with Bradsell and Starless and Asphora, and he was stuck down the middle and he did too much and he got run out of it. But it was an unbelievable run last time, I thought. He really dug deep. It was only a listed race, but the second, the third, and the fourth were Miss Attitude, JM Jungle, and Rosie Affair, who've all come out and won very good races next time out. And if he gets a good position, if he's lucky with the draw, and he's not been particularly lucky in his career, Washington Heights, he's ready to peak at 5 years old. So he's the one I'm excited about.
All right. I've just got one other to chuck into the mix, Andy, for me, and that's Saida Darian, who I thought was really impressive in the Summer Stakes. Excellent run in the Commonwealth Cup. She is definitely moving forward at a rate of knots. Richard Hughes has had a wonderful season. I would put her in as my sort of, not more than a token selection, as a sound each way bet, I think.
Yeah, I mean, she ran well in the Commonwealth Cup. I think that's a really strong piece of form. I'm a big fan of Time for Sandals. I thought she was a bit unlucky not to win at Goodwood, but that's by the by. And she's gone and proven herself at York as well, like you pointed out. So you've got to factor her into the equation, no doubt about that. She's got a good cruising speed. She loves fast ground. The faster they go, the better it'll suit. You could argue that she's got a little bit to form with Arizona Blaze on the Commonwealth Cup form, but you'd be splitting hairs there. A draw favoured over one or the other could make the difference between Arizona Blaze and Saida Darian. So, yeah, I certainly wouldn't be putting you off that, Nick. I think that's a really good shout.
Just another one of those ones. This keeps coming up this season, but horses who haven't won over 5 furlongs, sprint trips, trying to win top class sprints. Mm-hmm. The last 3-year-olds who'd not won over this trip to win the Nunthorpe was Oasis Dream, I believe, which admittedly would give Richard Hughes a nice link from there to now.
It would indeed, and of course he became only the second jockey person in history to win the July Cup as a trainer and a jockey. I don't know how many have done it as in the Nunthorpe, trainers and jockeys to have won. Anyway, well, so Freddie Head was the first one who won the July Cup as a trainer and a jockey. Hughes was the second. So anyway, I'll leave you looking at that, and we'll move on. We will move on. Just a reminder, as we move on to the final day, which features the City of York and the Ebor Handicap, we've got extra places all week long. You still get best odds guaranteed alongside the extra place concession. Okay, so just do bear that in mind as we head to the City of York. Now, I said, Andy, that this race had gone from 0 to hero very quickly. It was looking it was going to be a slightly subpar first running of it as a Group 1, not with the rerouted Rosalian in the race and the possible supplementary entry of Kierat, though that's not been confirmed as yet, and one or two others possibly getting chucked in there, together with what we've got already. It could end up being actually a pretty smart race. Yeah,
it probably needs a little bit of life injected into it. I think the sort of 7 furlong category has always been a little bit of a grey area over the years, and there isn't necessarily enough Group 1s, certainly in the UK, to get sort of like a bit of a fan base going with these kind of races. There isn't a 7 furlong race for the sort of older horses, is there? I think it's the Jersey, isn't it? That's the only one condition race wise. So yeah, it's about time a big meeting had one of these. And it looks like it's going to get a good field, particularly if Rosalian comes here. That'd be fantastic. whether he's going to be, as effective over this trip is open to question. Sometimes it's taken him quite a while to get into top stride over a mile. So that would be my slight doubt about him. The one with push button acceleration for me is Never So Brave. I've been hugely impressed by this horse so far this season. Yes, okay, he's come from the handicap route. You could see by his ask to win and the time figure he produced that day, he was a group horse in a handicap, and he proved that in no uncertain terms last time at Ascot. Even though he's stepping up to a mile, he was ridden with a huge amount of confidence. They went off really fast, and he quickened up really well. And I thought he won with quite a bit in hand. I think the fact that Hatton was behind him as well, and he got first punch on him, and he quickened away from him. I think that's really good form. And the Bulldogs have just had an unbelievable season, haven't they? It's just gone from strength to strength. They hardly have a bad run. They hardly have a bad big meeting. They're always sort of like vying for, top trainer titles. And their horses have just been healthy, virtually week in, week out, day in, day out, almost seemingly. So if you're back in something like Never So Brave, has only had the 3 runs, he's still going to be coming here in top form. So yeah, I'll be very, very keen on him.
All right, so confident shout for Never So Brave. He'll get a setup as well here because audience is going to be marked urgent, and Quinault's going to be marked urgent as well. And they're good enough horses. They're going to tow them deep inside the final furlongs. If you've got a horse who maybe wants a mile, ultimately like Never So Brave, or wants a mile like Rosalien, at least it'll set up. Should set up quite nicely for them. Ross, is there a bet in the race for you?
If they run, yeah, there's 2 horses I'm looking forward to running. One more than the other, sorry. And that is Lake Forest. I thought he was one of the horses to take out of the whole week at Goodwood. I know that he's becoming a little bit of a frustrating customer, but again, like I said with Washington Heights before, they're the ones you get value on, the ones that you can genuinely watch a horse and think there's a reason why that horse didn't win, and other people think, oh yeah, but this, that, and the other, and here's an excuse and there's an excuse. But it was a monstrous run in the Lennox Stakes. It was a very strange race because they seemed to go an insane gallop, but didn't come back, which is a strange combination when you're watching it as an analyst. Witness stand, audience, and Quinault all burst off into their own little group, and they finished first, third, and fourth. And Lake Forest was miles back, turning into the home straight, and ate up the ground and managed to finish second, beating 2 3/4 lengths. Now, if he'd have started his run where the other 3 started the run, he'd have won by half the track. The Lennox Stakes it's the perfect prep for this race for obvious reasons. And I still think people are going to maybe overcomplicate it this year because it's become a Group 1. You're going to get horses taking different routes, going, Group 1, okay, maybe we'll throw Rosalien in, and maybe we'll supplement Kirat, and maybe it'll take a slightly different feel. But I still think that's a lot of noise, and we should just focus on the signal of this is a 7 furlong horse in a 7 furlong race. 7 furlongs is a very strange specialist distance, and he's had 2 bad experiences at York Lake Forest, to be fair, recently. He was upset in the stalls in this race last year and was withdrawn, and then he was a little bit unruly last time out behind Quinault as well. So there is that to worry about, but he has also won the Gimcrack here as well. So I just think he's a horse. He's ready to peak. He's 4 years old. He's trained by a genius in William Haggas. And again, he's another horse who I think you can excuse his defeat so far. So I just thought it was a huge run. I think you can spend ages looking through form lines and this, that, and the other. But the ones that knock your eyes out when you actually watch them and think, crikey, that is a big, big run. They're the ones I like to stick with. So, yeah, he's the one I'm hoping he runs. He could go to Goodwood on Sunday. That's the only issue.
He's been confirmed for the City of York. Knowing William Haggas and knowing the owners, I say they'd like a crack at it. Although it is now coming up, as I said, paradoxically, it's coming up quite spicy. I don't really have anything to add to what you guys have said, other than that I'm sure Quinault will run a very bold race. I don't think he can win, but I do think he can finish third. And if he's a massive price, then I'd be mildly tempted each way. A reminder, extra places all week long at York. Don't forget, you still get best odds guaranteed. Now, William Hill are paying 6 places on the Ebor from declaration. So from declaration, so when you know the final field, William Hill playing 6 places, and you obviously get the best odds guarantee concession into that. How's the Ebor changed? Has the Ebor changed as much as we said it had when it went all the way up to 1 million and then it's kind of come back a little bit? What sort of race is the Ebor now, Andy? How do you handicap it?
Well, I think you need a horse rated over 100 to win it. I mean, the days when sort of like horses won off 7 stone 7 and 3-year-olds got sneaking into it and dominated are over. We don't get a 3-year-old even in the race anymore. They've almost got no chance of getting in. So you are looking towards the quality, the classy horses, ones that are probably going to be pattern race quality further down the line. You also get the jump boys now. They quite like winning a nice pot down there. Willie Mullins has obviously cottoned onto that. Henry de Bromhead won it last year, of course, with Magical Zoe. So, you know, we're looking at tried and trusted formula horses who've run in these big handicaps before that have got a touch of quality about them. That would be the sort of like my line of thinking. I don't know about Ross.
Yeah, I think it's that perfect mix of these. All these races have now got a similar profile of you've got to have genuine group quality and ability, but you need to be tough and you need to have gone through the ringer a little bit. You need to, which is why the Irish jump horses are doing so well in these kind of handicaps, because they're running. I mean, they're running against 25 horses from the moment they step on a maiden hurdle. Admittedly, in maiden hurdles, 23 of them might be thinking of future events. But you need to be a group horse, and you need to be incredibly tough. I don't want an improver necessarily. I want a horse who is, who we know they are good enough to win a race. That's what I want.
What if I've got both? What if I've got both that I know he's good enough and he's an improver?
Oh, that's absolutely perfect. Yes, please. Yeah.
Can I take the covers off?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shadow Dance is my pick in the Ebor.
Okay.
Silence. Total silence.
I'm waiting for the incredible case to be made.
I'm in total silence, Nick, because it's my nap of the week.
Oh no! No!
There you go. Silence can mean many things, Nick.
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry, Andy.
I've done a danger bait Ross.
It's all coming back around.
Back to haunt me.
Imagine if you're a really a genuinely really good judge of the sport, and like some Gus the Guesser turns up and goes, "I've got one for the Ebor," and it's the same selection.
Oh, hang on, Nick. You're the best judge in the game. You're the best judge in the game, according to some people.
Ross,
my word.
Nick, come on, give us your rationale.
Well, my rationale is he is unexposed. There's every possibility he will achieve something greater than a rating of 100. He is a horse that can not only win at York, but win racing quite handily and has a little bit of tactical speed. You need that round here. I don't care what trip it's over. I don't want a horse that's being driven from 5 out in an Ebor. So he's going to be, we know he's got the tactical pace, but more than that, we know that he's also posted a career best at this distance, over which he remains completely unexposed. He had the biggest signal prep run of all signal prep runs at Goodwood over 10 furlongs, which he couldn't win, but still ran really well and showed himself to be in good heart. The yard does not have as many horses as it used to have, and doesn't really garner as many headlines as it did maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, because it hasn't got a whole slew of really good horses at the moment. But all the ones that they're running at the moment are running pretty well and are sort of finishing in the 4. So, I don't know. I just think there's lots to like about this horse.
Given Tottenham's resurgence as well over the past few weeks, the owners, it feels right with the owners as well.
Is it Aussie's in this, isn't he?
And Glenn Hoddle as well, and Alan Brazil. Alan Brazil going mad in the winners' enclosure at the Ebor.
Mm.
Yeah. You're right, guys. I mean, it was the biggest eye catcher of the entire Goodwood Festival for me. Shadow Dance. As soon as he hit the line, I think I backed it straight after. I think it might even been, literally the photo finished print had come up, and I was trying to get the prices Managed to back him at fancy odds, and I'd still actually entertain backing him now at the price he is. I still think he's overpriced. The one thing I will say, we talked about you need 100 rated horses to win it, and obviously there's 20 odd 100 rated horses in this year. I actually don't think this year's Ebor is as classy as the last two. When there was,
that's been the story of all year, though, hasn't it? I mean, we said exactly the same about the John Smiths. Half the horses that have been running in this are in different countries now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I don't think we've got that glut of Group 2, Group 3 horses dropping back down in handicaps and one's on the way up, meeting in the middle. I don't think we've got that in this year's race. With the greatest respect to quite a lot of these, I'd certainly respect Ethical Diamond. I thought he won despite pulling very hard at Royal Ascot. And anything Mullins runs in a race like this, you have to be factoring in. London City, I can half see him, but he's a little bit one pace for me. Nick mentioned he won horses off the Bride. I think he's just too slow almost. But Shadow Dancer's got that 1.5 mile speed and the stamina to stay beyond. He stayed it well at Doncaster. He's won at York as well. I mean, that's the biggest telltale sign. That the fact that he won at York last year, connections have gone, right, okay, this is our Ebor horse. They ran him over 1.6 miles. They knew he got the trip at Doncaster. What do we do? Right, we'll give him one run this season over 1.25 miles in a good one handicap. He weaved his way through, beating horses from the back of the field, hit the line very strong. It was the perfect prep, and he's got here off a mark of 100, which is going to be really handy. So yeah, I'm with you, Nick. I think Shadow Dancer's got all the credentials to beat this field.
Alrighty, Ross, did we pin you down in the end or not?
It's not normally my type of race. It's almost too tough, and they are, the kind of horses. I prefer to go on the younger horses, the improvers to a certain extent. But I do have notes on two horses who might have a chance. One is Santorini Star for William Haggas. Again, if Lake Forest wins 35 minutes earlier, I might have to have the double on Santorini Star as well, because that could pay all right. But she was a bit of an eye-catcher last time out at Fairyhouse. Again, she's won impressively in handicap company. She's been tested in black type company, and she comes out of a race last time out that's thrown up, I think, 3 winners from 5 runners who've come from that Fairyhouse race and then come here. And she was an eye-catcher. She was never really in with the chance, the way that she was ridden. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, maybe there's something else you were thinking about going for next time out. So Santorini Star, the slow boat of the race, I think will struggle to win, but if you're paying 6 places or you're having a play spot, I think Sam Wee is an absolute, I'm not going to say certainty, but an incredibly strong chance of finishing that front 6. He keeps running big races. He's rated 106 on the on turf. He's rated 131 over sticks. So he's quality in both spheres. He's finished 3rd to French Master. He's finished 2nd. A few days later in the Queen Alexandra at Royal Ascot. He's finished 2nd to Al Kareem, who's been having a cracking time of it of late last time out at the track in group company. He finished 2nd to Extensio in a 2-mile handicap last year as well at this meeting. He's almost bomb-proof for a place, Sam Wee, and he's about 25 to 1 as we're talking. So, look, I don't think he'd be good enough to win, but it's the type of race where I would rather back a horse to finish in the mix, and Sam Wee certainly fits that profile. Okay, so there are a few suggestions for the Ebor. What we need to do now is to give you a best bet for the whole week. Well, I think Andy, you might have just given it away, but here we are. Drum roll, please. Andy Holding's best bet of Ebor week is. Well, Shadow Dance is my nap of the week, but I'm going to give you a couple of others that say to throw into the mix. We're very keen on Shaman Champion, Richard Hughes's in the nursery. I think it's on day 1. He's got done with the draw on his last 3 starts. He was drawn 1 in the Windsor Castle. He ran really well under the circumstances. Similar comments applied to him with his Newbury run in a race that's worked out well beyond Penhallam. And then at Glorious Goodwood, they went for a right touch with him, but it looked an odd gamble to me. I don't know about you, but he was drawn 13 to 13, as it turned out, 11 of 11. When it was quite clear that you needed to be on the far side where James Jungle won. So I marked his performance up markedly, even though, like I say, he was a beaten favourite. To finish 2nd
given what had happened on previous races on that track. I thought it was a Herculean effort. And Ryan Moore's been booked for him, so obviously there's a bit of a signal of intent there. So if he gets drawn right on day one, I'll be very keen on him. And just a couple of 2-year-olds to keep an eye on. Life Plan, a horse that probably most punters won't have heard too much of. Won first time out for Declan Carroll at Thirsk of all places, but have been targeted specifically at the Gimcrack ever since. The time figure that we've got suggests this horse is very much going to be underplayed. It was an extraordinarily quick time, and he did it very, very easily. And I know that the Crisfords think that the horse that finished second is one of their best, and he's entered in 2 Group 1 races towards the back end of the season. So do keep an eye on Life Plan. And my old favourite 2-year-old, Stayer, she bids to atone from a slightly unlucky run in the Princess Margaret when she was given too much to do in a race that suited Fitzella, who was on the front end. But she finished her race off really strongly. She's been training exceptionally well since. And I don't think this year's Lauder is all that strong. All the sort of big guns have either dropped by the wayside, the likes of True Love and Venetian Sun going for Group 1s, etc. And the Lauder looks like being a fairly weak affair this season. So I do think Stayer's got a big chance. Again, with the proper draw. I don't know that in advance, but George has been really happy with her work since. So she should go well in the Lauder.
All right, good stuff. Ross, have you got one for the week for us?
I think that, again, I'm hoping that Lake Forest turns up in the 7 furlong race. I think he'd be my strongest fancy of the week. In terms of throwing other ones in, Life Plan, I agree. I think Distant Storm in the Acomb, very excited to see him. He won a race at Newmarket that has probably worked out better than any other race all summer. Everything comes out of that race and wins next time out in impressive fashion. The front 2 were miles clear, and I think he's a very exciting customer, Distant Storm. But then I've got 2 horses I've been following this sort of all season, and they're coming to a head here. And I think one is Dancing the Storm, who coulda, woulda, shoulda got that race at Goodwood. She is beautifully bred. She has an incredible cruising speed. She has a fantastic turn of foot. And as long as another horse doesn't batter her out of the way with 100 yards to go, then I think she's got a chance in the Fillies Handicap. And Big Leader, I like this horse a lot. The Bond Silks could be carried to victory a few times this week, and Big Leader is 3 from 3. He won a Redcar Novice in a 4-runner race at 28-1, beating some good horses, and everyone thought, is that form any good? And then he went to Southwell, and he absolutely battered a decent filly in a good time, and people thought, is that form any good? And then he went to Thirsk last time out, and he beat some decent handicappers. He's 3 from 3. He comes to York, and I think he's a bit of a monster. So, yeah, there's a few in the mix.
Alrighty, I've got one for you, one extra, and that is bonus time in the Fillies Handicap over 7 furlongs on Thursday. This is a fast 7 furlong horse rather than a staying 7 furlong horse. I think the track will really suit her, and Paddy Toomey has taken the trouble to book Colin Keane for the ride. And for all the brickbats he might have had thrown at him in the last couple of weeks, I still maintain he's one of the best jockeys in the world. So I would like to see this team have a good week, and I think they will. And I can see Karma's running well in the Vulture, but I think bonus time is the one to be winning the Fillies Handicap on Thursday. So there's our idea of a few of the better bets of the week. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Inside Track YouTube channel and leave us a comment. Let us know your fancies for the week. Far more importantly, we will be back for the Ledger meeting at Donny, Irish Champions Weekend on that episode as well. You can check out all the odds and offers at williamhill.com and on the William Hill app. And the show was brought to you, of course it was, by William Hill. 18 plus, please gamble responsibly. See you next time.